Hey guys, welcome to With Love and Naya. This is Shivangi and you're currently watching me on my YouTube channel. If you're seeing this face for the first time, make sure you hit the subscribe button because I make videos on all things fashion, beauty, lifestyle, a little bit of travel and a little bit of my everyday life, and of course a fashion education segment, which is the reason why you guys are here, because today is day 7 of our Fashion Week with Shivangi journey and I'm really so excited about this one. We actually made it to the 7th video and that is something to be really proud of. So thank you so much for all the love and support in the last 6 videos, and if you haven't seen those videos, I have a playlist right up here and you can click on it and see all the videos which I've made on my fashion education segment. Now coming to what this video is about, this video is basically one of the most requested videos that I've ever had on my channel ever since I started with fashion education, and that is how to make a portfolio, what goes behind the scenes, how to make a portfolio for college, for work, some tips and tricks, etc. So without wasting any time, let's quickly just dive into what this video is all about. Make sure you stay till the end of this video because I will be sharing my personal portfolio at the end of the video, which was made in 2014 or 15, and I don't want you guys to judge me, but it's just to give you a clear idea. And of course a lot of things there are not how I would want to do it today. And today, being on the other side of the table and actually going to colleges and reviewing portfolios for students, I've realized that technology has come a long way. Pinterest, Instagram, social media, all of it has made the entire community of creatives more creative because there's so many inspirations out there, there's so many people you can look up to, so much of work that you can see. So that is definitely there, but from my personal experience of the last 3 years of being in the industry, these are some tips which I would like to share with you as an employer. Alright, my tip number 1 for you guys is personalize your portfolio. Your portfolio is basically an extension of who you are as a person, so it has to speak out, scream out loud in the most subtlest way that this is me, this is who I am. Messy, creative, kind of organized, not organized, clutter-free, chaotic. All of it has to be represented in the portfolio, whether you like colors or whether you're monochromatic, whether you're a black and white person, all of it should come across really clearly. My second important thing is the lineup, which is how you place your projects. It's very crucial to have your best projects in the front because you want your employer or your college to be really enticed and quickly kind of get their attention. And of course I would request you to have one of your good projects in the end, because the people who actually have the patience to go till the end, you would like to reward them in some way, and that is how I would personally do it if I was doing a portfolio today in this era. So that is the third most important thing is selection process. Make sure you're very clear about the kind of projects you're selecting. Your selection process has to be very thorough. Don't choose average things, choose things which are really some of your best works. Make sure your best work goes out there, and make sure if you're going for a certain college or a certain department, your portfolio is accordingly altered and modified so that it suits the college or it suits the employer, the company that you're applying to. So I personally like cover letters and designer briefs. So the first page I would advise you to have it as your design brief, like your designer brief, which talks about your skill sets, your interests, your strengths, your weaknesses, and what you would like to pursue in the future. What are you looking forward to doing? So that is always a great plus because that speaks out to your employer or your college interviewer about the kind of person that you are. Follow a strict theme. I cannot stress enough on how important it is to follow a strict theme, whether it is monochromatic, whether it is color coordinated. Make sure that you're going by one theme, one storyline. Don't make it very cluttered. Make sure it's clean, minimal. Even if it's cluttered, it should be in an organized sense so that it doesn't get really too overwhelming for the employer. The number of projects you select is very crucial. You don't want to select less than 10 because that's too little, and you don't want to select more than 20. 20 I think is the max you should select because you don't want your employer or your college to be really overwhelmed by the amount of projects that you're throwing on their face. You want them to see the very best of your work. I know that's very difficult, but it has to be concise. It has to be something that they can see in 5 minutes and decide if we would like to see more of this student or this candidate more or not. So yeah, that's all that I have to share with you when it comes to the tips and tricks. Now let's quickly dive into what my portfolio has for you guys. Let's get into it. Alright guys, so this is the cover of my final design portfolio, and the cover looks really minimal. The rest of the portfolio is not so minimal, but without wasting any time, let's quickly just get started. So as you might have seen in my previous video, which was about my final design collection, I love this entire thing of post-its and, you know, kind of sticking things with paper, like with glue digitally and with like sellotape and all of that. So my portfolio is also an extension of just that. This is my contents page where I'm talking about all the projects that I've done, and this is basically the kind of theme that I followed. So my first page is always the project brief, and it talks about the kind of project, and also the brand logo is right here. And then this one here is my theme page where I talk about the theme, and this is my mood page where I talk about the entire mood of, you know, the collection. So this one was inspired by Mughal architecture and ghungroos of the Mughal architecture. Then these are my flat drawings, and then finally we come to the actual garments. So I basically did like close-up shots and shots done like, you know, full length, and then I went into details and kind of mentioned all the details about the garments in that order. This is the second garment, this is the fourth actually, and the third is here. Again, the detail is all mentioned, and I made these little circles because I just liked it. This is actually the Vogue sari which I'd made in my third year of college, just before my fourth year, like my final year started. These are the saris, these are the two saris that actually made it to Vogue magazine's 7th anniversary issue, and my then boss Tina Tehliani Parekh and Diana Repa, the supermodel, they both wore it. So that was quite a proud moment. I was really very proud of it. And yeah, so this is another garment which I made during my internship. And again, we start with this second project, which is basically a competition that I participated in and won. So this is SDC. This was inspired by cherry blossoms, and this one I'm really proud of because this is the project that landed me in China. I went to Hong Kong and China on a full paid trip as one of the 14 national champions from 14 different countries. So that was a really proud moment. This is the storyboard and the color palette for that, the illustrations and the digital prints I had developed, and these are the final garments. So these are all my final garments, and the details and everything else is mentioned here. This year is actually, this is where my FIT year starts, like my third year of college. So I kind of put everything in my third year in like this one, you know, brief, which is Fashion Institute of Technology, 1-year associate's degree in fashion design, and work done there. So this was a fluting project. It took me quite some while to make it. This is actually Brielle Danielle, who's like a pop singer. She's an MTV pop singer who was also studying at FIT, and she volunteered to model for me, which was really cool. This was the first fashion shoot that I did all by myself, because of course I didn't have access to like a model or a photographer. This year was shot at Brooklyn Bridge. I'm really proud of this entire garment and the shoot. It was one of my favorites. It's a conical shaped corset, very crazy stuff. This is the kind of digital works that I had done there, so I put it all up, this entire thing. So I decided to pick, you know, one subject each and kind of put it all up there. So this is again more of my digital work, and this here is also more of my digital work. This year is a paper dress project we were supposed to undertake, and we were supposed to make a garment out of papers. And this was my roommate Allison. She's a darling, and she decided to volunteer for it, and it was so much fun shooting this with her. And this garment actually made it to one of the showcases at FIT, so that was really fun. Again, digital flats here. This is, I think, one of my first projects when I was at FIT, but really amazing because their digital skills are another level. Now this year is again a competition. This was Max Design Awards. I was selected as one of the 15 finalists from across the country to participate, and these are, you know, the storyboard pictures. This is the inspiration. I was inspired by dandelions, so my theme was pristine dandelions for this one. These are the shoot pictures for it. I'll just show you the shoot pictures, but yeah, these are the flats and the illustrations that went with it. So this is again another shoot which I had so much fun filming and styling. The paper actually is not doing justice to how amazing it looked. It just looks a little yellow when I think about it right now. It wasn't that yellow previously. I don't know what happened here. But anyways, so this was my kidswear project. It was a kidswear module. So in NIFT you actually get to choose your modules in the final year, which is your 7th semester, and I picked up kidswear. So yeah, this was an inspiration from Mirch Masala. And yeah, I don't know why I would come up with such crazy themes, but these are all the boards that I have. And this here is the final digital print development and the final illustrations, and the flats of course, and all the flats that you see are hanging by like paper clips or whatever, the kapra clips. This is the final end product. This is how my first garment looked, and this is how my second garment looked. Really proud of the garment, and the model was so cute, so she made it all worth it. This again, I think menswear. So I designed a menswear by graphics and prints. It was very checks inspired and checkerboard inspired. This garment is the only menswear garment I've ever made in my life, and it took me so much time to actually execute this. The cubes that you see coming out, it was really very difficult, and you could wear this jacket in like 4 different ways. All kinds of crazy stuff people do, right? And then the shirt had like a back opening, and it was just crazy. Let's just keep it at that. But I think it was worth the effort. So this was my illustration for the same, and this is my model Gaurav, again a college junior who volunteered to model for me. This one was a khadi competition which I'd made. I participated in Khadi Bhandar's competition, and 5 of my garments actually made it to you know, I think Khadi Bhandar all over the country, and the ones who won their garments, and they had to develop like patterns for it later and all of that. So this was really very fun. I'd never done something so earthy ever, and since it was inspired from India, so it was Mati, and I've written my keywords in Hindi here, and the Pantone was very earthy, based on of course the kind of fabric swatches that they supplied us with, and this was the final collection that I made out of it. Very earthy. Then there are a few other projects which I've done. This was actually home fashion textiles, which was again, it was like a, you know, a module which I'd undertaken. This was Dharavi and Varli. So yeah, we had actually done a craft documentation on Dharavi and Varli, and the photographer in me, this was the time when I had taken an interest in photography. So yeah, it kind of captured all these images, and there's a few random illustrations, and that's about it.